There's some very critical discussions that need to happen right now regarding government censorship of social media platforms and other forms of media. Thank God Elon Musk bought Twitter and is exposing some of the internal memos that that company received from the federal government, badgering them to take down certain content. This is why the New York Post was suspended because they were exposing Hunter Biden's laptop and they couldn't have that right before the election. Um, and Twitter was banning a lot of other people who had the wrong think or wrong speak. Um, Senator Hawley on the floor of the Senate Judiciary Committee is asking about, this digital censorship and whether or not it could apply to books for illustrative purposes, saying, oh, well, what if the books are digital? Could the federal government have these social media platforms ban them from their platforms? Because I think we all know that even if it exists on the internet, if it is not on one of these big platforms that everybody's got an app on their phone and that's where they go for their information and to access the internet for the most part, unless you're an independent and you go off and find your own information, those pieces of information, if they get removed from the big platforms, are going to be rarely seen by most Americans and most people in the world for that matter. So this is a crucial topic of debate and goes back to net neutrality, internet freedom, and the idea of regulating these as a utility, as a necessity, as part of the American life today. And if you want to communicate and interact and engage with people, this shouldn't be treated as a luxury, which it is currently. It should be treated as a necessity. The internet should be regulated as a necessity, and it should have government guidelines as to what can be removed, and free speech should be preserved to the maximum extent possible if this is how political discourse is going to occur. I am sure that I don't need to remind you that Twitter banned a sitting president from participating in the discussion. Not a tweet. They took his account down. So they have a lot of power as far as what gets heard and who gets to speak, who's allowed to speak in the discussion that affects all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to the witnesses for being here. I think it's safe to say that all of you are here today because you are opposed to government censorship. Is that right? Have I got
That's why I'm
broadly
here.
correct? Okay, we can agree on that much. Book banning is a form of government censorship. Is that, broadly speaking, correct? Professor Knox, you're an expert in this. Let me just ask you. Book banning is a problem under the First Amendment because it's the government telling private individuals, authors, what have you, what they can and cannot write, telling the public what they can and cannot read. Is that, broadly speaking, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So now what if the books were digital only? Could the government ban them then? So no hard copies, no physical copies, it's just digital books. Could the government engage in book banning then under the First Amendment? No problem.
No, that's about a format of the particular book, and that really doesn't matter when it comes to whether or not government is banning a book.
Okay, what if the government made a list of authors whose books it wanted banned, and also went to all of the publishing houses in America, the government did, and said, do not publish the books by any of these authors or we will punish you? Is that a problem under the First Amendment?
My hope is that the government would not be involved in the decisions of a private company.
Good. I would hope so too, but apparently that is not the case in the United States.
Yeah, hope in one hand and shit in the other and see which one fills up faster. This is why regulation is needed, because hoping that the government is going to do the right thing and give you information and not be an asshole and not start to restrict inconvenient truths doesn't seem to be the way things are working out.
States of America today under this administration, because the hypotheticals I've just given you aren't hypotheticals at all. They've happened. And we know that they are happening. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals just ruled in a case, Missouri versus Biden. I'm sure you're all familiar with this. It's going to go down, I think, as a landmark case in the worst possible way in First Amendment law, because what the Court of Appeals found is that the White House, not just the federal government, but the White House, actively coerced every major social media platform in America. Let me say that again. Every major social media platform in America to ban speech that the White House did not like.
Yep.
What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about speech on the COVID-19 pandemic, speech on the 2022 congressional elections, speech related to mass.
Let me just testify to that. I've had a video removed for discussing with sources new information relating to COVID and the vaccine, because it's against YouTube terms of service to make any claims that are not congruent with the official WHO, NIH literature or guidance, whatever you want to call it, on that subject. So he is 100% correct. If you don't believe me, go take a look at the YouTube terms of service right now, and other platforms have similar restrictions other than Twitter.
Mandate, speech related to vaccines.
Yep.
What did the White House do? Well, over a period of years, they met with, on a regular basis, the leaders of social media companies and demanded that the speech they did not like be taken down. They further demanded that these same social media companies amplify the White House's speech. Amazing. So take down all of this speech that we don't like, amplify our own speech. Unbelievable. What kind of speech are we talking about? Well, for example, not just public officials, but parents. Here's an example from my state, the state of Missouri. I'm reading you from the opinion here. One parent who posted on Nixdoor.com, which is a site operated by Facebook, posted an online petition to encourage his school to remain mask optional, found that his posts were removed without notifying him, and his friends never saw them. Another parent in the same school district who objected to mask mandates for school children responded to Dr. Fauci on Twitter and promptly received a warning from Twitter that his account would be banned if he did not delete the tweets criticizing Dr. Fauci's approach to mask mandates. These objections, amazingly, this censorship was taken at the direct behest of the federal government, the direct behest of the Biden administration. Professor Knox, is this a violation of the First Amendment?
Only a judge can make that determination.
And a judge has. I'm glad you said that. Multiple judges. The district court, federal district court, said there was a direct First Amendment violation.
And I mean, just because it's related, so the White House, in its new memo, the White House warns process stories that fail to unpack the illegitimacy of the claims on which House Republicans are basing all their actions only serve to generate confusion, put false premises in people's feeds, and obscure the truth. Think of the impeachment inquiry what you wish. Biden scolds media on how to cover his impeachment inquiry. This is CNN. White House sends letter to news execs urging outlets to ramp up scrutiny of GOP's Biden impeachment inquiry based on lies. White House urges news networks to increase scrutiny of GOP's Biden impeachment inquiry. The White House has sent a memo to news outlets urging them to ramp up scrutiny of the House Republicans' impeachment inquiry into President Biden. In the memo titled, "It's Time for the Media to Do More to Scrutinize House Republicans' Demonstrably False Claims That They Are Basing Impeachment Stunt On," was sent to Ian Sams, White House spokesperson for Oversight and Investigation. So, I mean, this is pervasive in the government. They think that they can just control the narrative by telling the free press what they should cover and how they should cover it. Hey, cover this impeachment inquiry. By the way, also cover it in this way with this bias, and completely discredit all the claims of the other side. Thank you. Bye.
Court of Appeals unanimously, 3-judge panel, unanimously said direct First Amendment violation. I can't think of another time in American history when the President of the United States, and I say that advisedly because the record reflects that White House officials were sending emails and communications to these companies saying that the President himself wanted the censorship. So you've got the government doing exactly what Professor Knox said is not permitted under the First Amendment, directly coercing the speech of private parties, and not just one or two authors, but parents all across the country. Unprecedented in the history of this nation. So I'm glad we're having this hearing today. I hope that we will have more like it to expose the censorship happening at the highest levels of our government. Mr. Chairman, I'd ask that this opinion, this judgment by the Fifth Circuit, Missouri versus Biden, be entered into the record in full.
Without objection.
I will leave it there. I know there are other Senator Kennedys here who want to ask questions, but I just want to say for the record that this kind of censorship is un-American, it is unconstitutional, and I hope it will go down as a sad chapter in American history that we can close here and now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, if the system is working correctly, it will stop this. And if the system is not working correctly, then this will prove itself out by this type of media manipulation continuing. And that will clarify the position and situation for Americans everywhere, whether you believe that the government is censoring and being inappropriate or not. If we can clearly see that they are exerting pressure on the media, that is not allowed. The government is not allowed to pressure media outlets to report certain stories, to not report certain stories. We all know that this has happened. We've seen plenty of movies where these types of things have happened, blackmail, all kinds of things go on behind the scenes. But now we're not seeing it in a movie, and we're not seeing it behind the scenes. We are seeing it come out with documentation and court decisions relating to White House and government behavior as far as censoring certain information and telling private companies to take down certain information that is inconvenient for their narrative. They want to suppress the truth. And a government that wants to suppress the truth from you should not be trusted on any topic until we have gotten this, the misinformation. And that's the most hilarious part, right? Is they love to say misinformation, false information, all this stuff. That's just code for suppressing truth, because you can lie all you want and the government does not give a shit. It's only when you start telling truth that they want to be a lie that they feel the need to come out and censor you and take your content down or go after you. So as far as I'm concerned, being called a conspiracy theorist or having your content censored or taken down indicates that you are on the right track, you are on to something legitimate, because they wouldn't be going after you, they wouldn't be wasting their time. They only have so many resources, and they are going to use those golden bullets against the targets that need to be addressed, not against someone over here talking about flat earth or you know, the subterranean hollow earth theory or any manner of, you know, nonsense, non-political conspiracy theories. That's all fine. But when it endangers the Schmovid narrative, when it endangers any of these, you know, protected, right-wing extremist narrative, the white supremacy narrative, all these narratives that they want to push that are not based in reality, when people start to show evidence that they're not based in reality and that these are made up, we need to take that content down. You know, exposing the fact that really the only racism occurring in this country is against white people, as far as I'm aware. Feel free to leave me some comments down below showing otherwise, but like, there is a lot of anti-white sentiment in this country, and it's being celebrated and amplified. TikTok is apparently amplifying videos where people are using slurs against white people like cracker, and you know, maybe I should use some because they seem to be suppressing some of my shorts, at least, or getting no impressions or not being shown to anyone. Now the only traffic that they're getting is from searches. So you know, lawful but awful is a thing, and so is the government actually trying to say that some of this stuff is so dangerous it should be made illegal in a country that is founded upon free media and free speech. This government is rotten. The people inside of it are the problem. We need to vote them all out. All incumbents who are being silent about the people going after the children, about all the money going on behind the scenes, about a partisan approach towards justice where only one side is held accountable, which really shows that there's really everybody's on one side, and then you've got Trump and a few others on the other side who are being persecuted. So it's a uniparty. It's all just one party. It's captured by money. It's run by global corporate pools of money that fund the elections and fund the lobbying for legislative changes. I mean, it's pretty clear to me. I just hope that we're going to wake up and see it and realize that we need to vote these people out. This is our duty as Americans. We're supposed to be good stewards and carefully decide who we put in power for our own sake, but also for the sake of the rest of the country. So, hope that you enjoyed this one, and I will catch you again soon. Thanks.